Hi everyone, welcome. Oh my goodness. Thank you for joining today. This is Extel, by the way. For those who are joining me for the first time, we're just going to give it a couple more minutes for people to join. Once you join, please share on your platform so many more people can join us. Hello, and once you're here, let me know that you're here so I could acknowledge you. Let's just give some time for everyone. Welcome. We're just waiting for more people to join. We want to talk today about domestic violence in immigrant communities. Share this on your platform so we can get as many more people as possible. And say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. I'd like to acknowledge you. Hi, Insane. How are you? I can see you're watching from YouTube. So guys, we're live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube. I know not everybody has a Facebook profile, so you can check out. My first love has been stolen away from me. It just will bring you back. I cry you a river, but my tears can bring you back. We'll give you a couple more minutes and we'll get started. All right, everyone, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I mean, today we have an interesting topic, and I know everybody probably has heard what's happening. And I just wanted us to come together so we could share some teachable moments. Things like this happen in our community so we can open our eyes and so we can start having the conversations that we're supposed to be having. And I'm just going to give a background story for those who don't really know what has happened. A couple days ago, a prophet or a self-acclaimed prophet, killed his wife. And I'll just go over the facts of the story. So there's this man, his name is Slyvester Okori. And he, without us seeing the video with what happened with the brother-in-law, we just learned from the news that he had gone to the bank and shot his wife dead, right? He had been married to this woman. She is Barbara Tommy, and they've been married since 2016. They were the founders of Floodgates of Heaven Ministries in Florida. And so he went to where she was working in Orlando, and just about 9 a.m., it was barely 9 a.m. Orlando time when he, shot her a couple times. And, reports are saying that he actually shot her and then ensured that she was dead by shooting her in the head. And these people are immigrants. They're both, I don't know about the woman, the deceased, the victim, but the suspect or the person, the murderer. Well, he's not been ruled a murderer yet, but the suspect is from Ghana. And according to the court documents that I was able to pull, he is not an American citizen. And that could be one of the things that, triggered it, or one of the reasons why it ended up the way it's ended. But we'll talk about that, down the line. So that's the story. Slyvester is a 35-year-old Ghanaian man living in the United States that has killed his wife. We know that this is not the first incident. In fact, a couple of weeks or months ago, it was in the Cameroonian community that a man had shot his wife and shot himself. This man shot his wife and walked to his apartment. He walked to his apartment. That's where a warrant was served him, and that's where he was arrested. A little bit about these people. Like I said, they're the founders of Floodgates of Heaven Ministries. Barbara was born in 93. She's 27, or she was 27 at the time when she was killed. This man is 35 years old. And court records show that Mr. Okori was arrested in 2016. So, the whole essence of us coming together to have this conversation is, we hear a lot of, if you see the signs, get out. If you see the signs, a lot of people are saying that if you see the signs, get out. Now, there's a video which triggered a lot of unrest in our hearts. Like when I saw that video, I was like, oh my goodness. How is the family feeling? The family of this woman, how are they feeling? How are they processing? The brother who went into the house. And, let me play the video so that we could watch it together. Viewer discretion advised, it might bother some people. So please just be cognizant of that it might bother you. So please don't watch if you have a very fragile heart. Okay.
No, it's not okay, Barbara. It's not okay. You cannot defend him. It's not okay. Do you see what he just did? No, Barbara, I'm tired. No, I'm tired of you now.
Oh, sir, let me cut it there. The brother says something that I want us to take note of. He says that you cannot always be assaulted, meaning that it was not the first time. In fact, the killing was the last of the assaults. There were many more before. Okay.
No, absolutely not. I know, that I understand. I get it. I'm not going to find out. Stop. You're not going to find out. I came in here and I told you to sit back. I told you we are not here to argue with you. Why did you fucking attack her? Why did you attack her?
He attacked her.
No! You started. You're going to go to the other room and you're not going to come out. But what about that one? You up. I'm telling you. Barbara, that hold it.
So you can hear in the background, she's referencing a divorce document. So this tells me that there was probably a divorce petition in the works or about to be in the works. Okay, so this tells me that it's a lady who got out. Because a lot of people are saying when you see the signs, you get out. When you see the signs, you get out. This woman got out, apparently. She had come into the house to collect some divorce documents.
I don't know what the fuck is wrong. Barbara, move. She's not going to fuck you up. Oh, no. Time. All right. Time. Time. All right. Time. Hey. No, sorry. Why? That was unnecessary. Don't do that, Barbara. It hurts you keep it by yourself. Harry, what did I tell you? Let him go in the room. Harry. Leave him alone. you are the same person who supported me at the wedding, right? I was supporting you at the wedding because you were sick. You were sick. That's the one where
So he says, you're the same person who supported me at the wedding. Okay. And the brother is saying, you're fake, you're a liar. Apparently, he had come off to be something that he was not. Let's go deeper into the facts. These things are going to help us to talk about the teachable moments, which is the whole essence for why I'm live today.
you and everybody that follows you, you were sick. I surrounded you because I thought you were different. So now you are not like your father.
I thought you were not like your father. Are you guys hearing all of this? I hope you're taking down your notes. He's saying, I thought you were not like your father. Okay.
Because I'm just the same sister. And the pastor told you that she was a witch. Which pastor? Name that pastor. Which pastor told you my sisters? The same sisters. Which pastor? Name the pastor. You are a pastor. You don't know whether you are a pastor, my friend. Before that, you what fuck you up. We didn't come here for you. We did not come here for you. Don't let me hurt you. We didn't come here for you. We came to something. Promise me. If I don't kill your sister, then me. You got the video, right? Yeah, I call the cops.
No. Okay. So that's that video that has gotten everybody just really sick in their guts. This man promised that he made a threat, and he carried out the threat. And so I wanted us to just get together and talk. There's something we hear all the time. Those of us who are married and those who are about to get married, whatever happens in your home, don't tell your family, don't tell anybody. If you tell people, then you'll spoil your marriage. After witnessing something like this, do you think that kind of advice would apply where there's violence? Do you think it's material? I personally don't think so. If at a time, because it looks like this man has been having issues. This man has been violent from the get-go. He has been violent from when they got married. How do I know? Let me pull up a document and show you.
No.
I'm sorry about that.
Not okay, Barbara. It's not okay. You cannot defend
I'm not sure where that video is coming from. Okay. Apologize. Let me pull up a document that I'd like to share with you all today to screen. All right. So here is a complaint document that is found in the court system of a complaint that was filed against this same man in 2016. Remember, these people got married in 2016. We will not have all the time to read every single thing, but I'll summarize. It appears that they both, Barbara, the same woman who has just been killed, and Slyvester, the suspect, or her ex-husband who murdered her, they were found at a gas station, and a police officer walked up to them because the police officer could see that there was an altercation happening between the both of them. And so the police officer is describing here, I didn't see Slyvester hit Barbara, but from my vantage point, it appeared as if a physical altercation was taking place. Let me try to make this bigger so we can see it. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. It says that a physical altercation was taking place, but the situation had calmed down. Wait, I just missed. Was taking place, but was not the case. I observed no marks on Barbara, but was advised. So apparently they had told the officer, no, it's not what it is. They were driving and they nearly hit the curb, and Barbara told her husband or complained about it, and then they got into it. And even as they tried to arrest Slyvester, he was trying to resist arrest. The police officer said he was flinching his arms. He was tensing his arms. That's actually the word. And then what really struck me was that in all of that, while they were arresting this man, right, Slyvester spontaneously told the officer, you guys listen to this. He spontaneously told the officer that he was upset with his wife and still upset with her as they were taking off his handcuffs. This alone tells me that this man had been violent the entire time they were married. So if I would tell people who are married, and please take my advice and weigh it with your situation, it's not the gospel truth. I know that we want, to be discreet, but there are certain things that you would invite your family members because, if they're in it, there's certain things that will not happen from the get-go. I have no idea what would have happened if from 2016, right, this woman has started talking to her brother or her family about some of these tendencies. Clearly, this man had anger issues or still has anger issues. From what was the complaint? They said, Barbara told me Sylvester almost hit a bicyclist, and she and he had been arguing about the near incident that they almost had. Okay. At that point in time, they were already married when this incident happened. Remember, this was not at their home. This was at a gas station where a police officer passing by saw two people like they were having some kind of physical altercation, and that's what drew his attention. That tells me that it was just more than them just arguing. It looked like Sylvester was probably, I'm assuming at this point, hitting this girl. So from 2016 up until 2020, when he committed his last act of violence on this woman, it's been going on. So my advice, it's okay to invite your family members when there is violence, when you see signs of control. It leads me to my second point, right, of all these issues that we talk about stem from someone trying to control. It may not be violence, it may not be him hitting you, but if your spouse, both ways, a woman or a man, is trying to take control of what you wear, who you hang out with, where you go, that is someone that could potentially harm you. That is someone that could potentially kill you, especially when they realize that they no longer have that grip on you. Domestic violence, we look at it like, oh, when you see the signs, sometimes we don't see the glaring signs where he points a gun at you, but where he talks you down, where she talks you down, where he insults your appearance, where she insults your appearance. That's a person that is trying to subdue and to control you. And those are the signs that we're talking about here, that, a person definitely should, say something about it. Another thing, another lesson that this whole incident has brought to my mind is the importance of us dealing with our past issues. Now, before you marry someone, do you think it is important to ask questions about the home they grew up in? This is the 21st century. Before, back in the day, our parents would be like, who is his father? Who is his mother? What village is he from? This runs in their family. Or, you watch movies of where people say madness runs in the family, don't marry. We have looked at those things and looked down on them. But I'm thinking that those are important things now. Because it appears the brother said, I thought you were not like your father. Meaning that the father probably demonstrated characteristics that they're seeing in the son. With us, the immigrant community here in the US, let's take some of these things seriously. We should not be having conversations when there's a dead body in the morgue. We should start having these conversations before it gets to it. Where, number one, we stop stigmatizing divorce. Yes. We should stop stigmatizing divorce and telling people to stick in it, to stay in it, to, endure. Mothers in Africa have stayed through that, or fathers in Africa, whatever the case. Because we stigmatize these things, a lot of people are trapped in situations. You will not believe it if I tell you the number of people that are caught up in situations like this, that look like everything is fine. But when the lights are out, the woman is in a lot of pain and suffering. Another thing about immigration, please guys, let's educate ourselves. People stay in relationships that they should not be in under the guise of, if I leave, I won't get my green card. If I leave, he won't get his citizenship. There's something called Violence Against Women's Act. It applies to both the woman and the man. I know a personal story of a little girl that came to me a couple years ago because her now ex-husband was beating her pulp. When I first encountered that case, I could not believe that in our immigrant community, there are people that can go the extent to which that man went. Sometimes we see these things and we think that it's just movie or it's so far-fetched, but I'm telling you, just down your alley, there's somebody who is going through similar. This lady's ex-husband went as far as beating her, went as far as raping her. And she stayed there because of the fear of the green card. And he knew that she did not know any better. And probably he didn't know better himself, that, if she left, she was still going to get her permanent residence card based on Violence Against Women's Act. It had gotten to a point where, I cannot even describe the detail. But I want anybody who is watching now to know that immigration laws have a provision where if you're married to someone who is abusing you, based on that, you can file to USCIS that you are being abused and you have your proof. Based on the proof you submit, you can get your green card. That is your 10-year green card if you're still on the conditional green card. Or if you have not yet had a green card, you can file the I-360. It's the application that goes for those who are filing for VAWA and many others. Our community needs to wake up. We need to stop the stigmatization, and we need to educate ourselves that you don't have to stay some place, some marriage, some relationship, and end up dying because you're trying to keep immigration benefits that would have no use when you're dead and gone. Also, let's get therapy. If your husband has anger issues, if you have anger issues, if you're married to someone that you know from his own past experience, his parents had a very turbulent marriage, before it gets to the point where it is so ugly from the onset, introduce therapy. We have no idea how far therapy can go. But stories like this need to come to an end. It's more than just if you see the signs, you leave. Because trust and believe, when you love someone, right, you hardly ever know the extent to which they will go until they really go. I don't think this woman knew what this man was going to do. I guess she knew he could beat her. She knew that he could, maybe punch or do whatever, slash the tires. Because in the video, we didn't watch the last part where the brother was in the room saying, look for my glasses, look for my glasses. And then the wife said, I hope he's not outside. I think she was referencing the car or something. That tells me the kind of person that man really was. That means they even thought that he could go the far extent of slashing the tires. Another teachable moment, guys, today is when someone threatens you, take them for it. I begin to wonder at this point, should we start advocating to the police that, there should be some other kind of intervention when someone offers a threat? Because he says, in fact, he holds the brother to the neck and says, if I don't kill your wife, let me promise you. He's like, let me promise you, if I don't kill your sister, call me fake. Oh boy, you're already fake. What kind of fake? What other kind of fake are you going to be if you don't kill? And he actually, fulfilled the promise. I was watching a video the other day of a pastor who knows this man and said he got into some funny doctrine, because everybody is like, oh, man of God, what kind of man of God is he? But if you go to his page, the page of the church, you will see a review from someone saying that he was preaching a different kind of doctrine. And then another pastor made mention again in his own life. If you guys look for it, you'll find it. Another pastor mentioned that this man actually stopped believing in Jesus, was actually preaching in his church and not to believe in Jesus and believe in nature. And they believe that he went into, the deep end. As a pastor's wife, I cannot imagine what this woman was enduring that she could not talk to anybody about. That leads me to the next point about narcissistic abuse. Because guys, one thing we don't know is that every abuse situation is different. Every abuse, there's no one size fits all. This person's situation, it could be so different from the next person's situation. This woman was dealing with a narcissistic person. How do I know? Because he's loved by everyone on the outside. And that's the most difficult kind of abuse to suffer, because when you talk about it, nobody believes you, because you're dealing with someone who on the outside people believe is an angel. Let me see. For some reason Facebook comments are not coming in, so I can't see your comments, but I know that people are commenting, but I can't see them. So that's the most difficult kind of abuse to endure, the one that you go and talk about and nobody believes, because this person has built an image on the outside as papa or prophet, or the way we Africans or immigrants would blindly follow a person without even questioning some things. So before we run off and say, oh, she should have left or she should have said something, ask yourself, is there someone in your life who is telling you about something they're going through and you were just discrediting everything they're saying because the perpetrator of the abuse has so exalted themselves that you cannot even see who, the kind of harm that they are doing to this person? As a pastor's wife, I can imagine that she probably had very few people she could confide in, because she had the ministry to carry. She had, maybe other groups that she was cheering, that she had to put up, a facade or look like all was going well. This is, if you're going through a narcissistic abuse, few people would understand, but you don't need people to understand, because you might never find anyone who would understand. Down on the ticker that's running below, you see a hotline number. I think we should all save those numbers that we can share with our friends or even for ourselves in situations like this. That if you're waiting for someone to believe you before you get out, it might be too late. And even by the time people are intervening, it might be late. I was discussing with my friends about, this entire scenario, and everybody said, but why didn't she call the police, or why didn't she get a restraining order? We don't know that. The video ended when they were, getting the divorce papers and trying to get out of that apartment. They could have called the police. They could have gotten the restraining order. But from when the incident happened to 12 hours later when he killed her, I don't believe there could have been, even if she had applied for it, the restraining order would, have taken maybe a couple hours to be out. And with the fact that he had a gun and a loaded gun, a restraining order was not going to prevent him from killing this woman. Another point that I would highlight here today is that some people deal with issues from the past. I mentioned it briefly, like rejection, that have been rejected before. If you find yourself in a situation where a person says, you cannot leave me, no, you can't leave me, those statements are really telling, where he tries to manipulate your freedom. I'm telling you, we never know the extent a person will go until they do their worst. Sometimes you cannot even find reason. You just have a sixth sense feeling. I put up a post the other day and I said, never give anyone the benefit of the doubt at the expense of your intuition. Never. You might not be able to piece A and B together or 1 and 2. so you can put it together and see that 3 is the right answer. But something inside of you just doesn't feel right. Something inside of you just doesn't feel right. Honor your intuition. The benefit of the doubt is good to give. But never, I repeat it again, never, never trade your intuition to give someone the benefit of the doubt. Marriage is a beautiful thing, don't get me wrong. When you find one that you're compatible with, one that you love, one that loves you, one that understands you, it's beautiful. But let us know that the A to Z of life is not found in marriage. So don't end up find yourself in a situation where you know that you should not be in. You have seen the signs. Without even those obvious signs, your gut feeling tells you something about this relationship is off. But because we want to show the world that we are marriable, it's as though we have attached our value to the ability to stay married. Even for those that are already married, we say, no, if I leave, what will people say? Ask yourself, what do you think people are saying now that this woman is dead? What do you think her church members are saying? People will say whatever they have to say. People, you can't stop people from saying. But one thing you can stop is from ending up in the morgue by staying with someone that has anger issues. Another post I put up is, if you watch how a person reacts when they're angry, just watch. When you're dating somebody, they never show you their bad side. Forget about it. If that's what you're waiting to see, you won't see it. But when you go to places like restaurants and he meets with his friends, how does he react? How is he reacting, or she? Both ways. I'm speaking from my point because I'm a woman here, but it could go both ways. How does he react with his siblings when he's angry? That's a tell sign. That's right there for you to know. Dear all, my brothers, my sisters, in this journey called life, is one life to live. It's one life to live. I don't know if this woman had children. There's no indication that she had kids. But I know that she's an immigrant like me. She's an immigrant like most of us who are watching. We have one life to live, a beautiful life. We make mistakes sometimes in the choices that we make, and we only discover it when we're in it. But you can move out. You sure can move out. You sure can get out. Also, if a friend begins to tell you that they're going through abuse, it's a good thing for the family of the man, if they are sane, or the family of the woman, if it's the woman who is abusing, to surround the abuser and get him help. Because I'm thinking, what could have happened if that man's brothers appeared on the scene? Because it looks like he had been off the rail for a period of time. It wasn't just something that started. If you go to their Facebook church page, they haven't posted since, I believe, January, March. There had been no post, but on his own motivational speaker page, he had been saying a lot of things like, snakes no longer hiss, they call you babe and boo. You know, what would have happened if his family members realized that their brother was going off on the edge and surrounded him to make sure that he got the help that he needed? We all have a part to play. This is not something for the woman or for the man. We all have a part to play in this thing. It's not just all for the woman to see it and get out. You, the friend who is seeing it, what are you doing? Are you also calling his family members or people that he listens to, calling attention like, look, this is what's going on. I'm afraid this man can go over the edge. I think we would have to be too careful, even if it means being too careful. Because a life lost, I cannot imagine what the brother feels now. I can't imagine how the family feels, the ifs and the what ifs. And, you know, I should not have escalated it by getting him beat up. But again, I would say it's difficult for any big brother to watch their sister choked, He literally choked this woman. It's a difficult time. It's a difficult topic, but I'm hoping that our eyes are open to see that there's no relationship that is worth your life. There's no relationship that is worth your life. No one, no family, no culture, nothing should pressure you to stay somewhere that your sixth sense tells you is not good for you. You would never know the extent a person will go until they do their worst. And I pray that for each of us listening, that worst will not be death. That worst will not be something that will cost our family members and cause them to cry like this family is crying. I watched a movie. If you haven't watched it, please check it out. It's called Knocking on Heaven's Doors. Similar storyline. A brother in church, he was actually the choir master, singing beautifully in church, and at home, mercilessly abusing his wife. We would think that these are just movies, right? Until it appears on the news screen and we see it. Check out the movies on YouTube. I wish we had time to review it. But so I'm just here to encourage and to share these tips with all of us. Once again, that your life is not worth, or, no relationship is worth your life. No relationship is worth your life. And that let us come together. There are resources. Please don't stay dying when there's a way out for you. Or say, no, I cannot leave him. He will mess me up. He's already messing you up. The fact that you can talk like that, he's already messing you up. What's the worst he can do to stop you from leaving that situation? Trust your gut feeling. Trust your intuition. It doesn't sit right, it's not right. It doesn't feel right, it's not right. Get help. You're not a fool to go to a therapist. In that movie I was telling you about, that man's father, I think he killed his father because the father was oppressing the mom or something. And from then, he had this anger issues. Anger is like a demon. When it comes full-fledged, there's no control. It takes mature men and women to hold themselves down when they're angry. If you can sense anger issues in yourself or in your spouse, please check in with a counselor. Check in with a therapist. Don't wait until he says, I want to buy a gun, and you're like, oh my goodness. I just wanted to share these tips. I know that there are a lot of comments, but for whatever reason, our platform will not let me see the comments. We could have had a much more engaging conversation if I could see the comments, but I would see them after the live and reply to everyone. But thank you all for joining, and our thoughts and prayers to the family who is going through a difficult time. Let's pray for them. Let's hope that this will not happen. And to those that are out there justifying and act like this and saying that what could a woman have done? The woman could have pushed him over the edge. Let me say this. There's nothing that anybody would do that will make right the act of murder. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You can walk away. If your spouse is provoking you, you can walk away. If your spouse is, insulting you or taking all your money, you have your hands, you have your feet, you have your brain. Those same things that brought you those resources, you would have them again. So once again, no relationship is worth your life. I hope that this has encouraged someone. The hotline number is there. Let's use it in our community. Let's put an end to this thing. We should be building ourselves, not tearing ourselves down in a manner like this. And if any man is listening to me now that secretly hits his wife and comes out in the public, sir, you need help. There are therapist information out there, counselors information out there. Make use of it. It doesn't make you a man to belittle or beat or hit your woman. It doesn't make you a strong woman to hit or belittle your man. If marriage is not beautiful, you have no business being in it. It's okay to make a mistake, and it's okay to start again. All right, guys, hope you have a wonderful Saturday. And next, I hope we'll have something more uplifting to talk about. Until next time, this has always been Excel. God bless you all.